Hello and welcome to today's painting demonstration. I'm going to show you how to paint this nice subtle spring scene. It's composed of a really close foreground and a really distant background with really not much to say about a midground at all. And we're going to do something a little bit different. I have nothing sketched out on the painting surface at all. I do have a thumbnail with some composition notes for myself and where the light source is going to be, which is from the very popular upper left. If you're interested in seeing the reference photo that I'm using, which is a screenshot from an Instagram reel, that's going to be in the art community Discord, and the link for that is in the description of the video. So let's get started. And I'm just going to pay attention to my values when I put the underpainting on. I'm going to be using burnt sienna today with a large oval wash brush, dipping that in the water. And I'm just going to keep this very vague. I'm going to be using the back to front painting method where we pretty much focus on everything behind the branches because they're so light and airy. I'm going to be painting them directly on top of the background. So what I want is mostly sky with some gentle rolling hills. The darkest part of this painting is going to be the bottom and in the corners. And it's going to get lighter as these mountains disappear. Really fade almost seamlessly into the diffused horizon line. Okay, that's pretty much it for the underpainting today. I'm going to put aside that brush. I'm going to grab my smaller filbert brush and I'm going to mix some colors for the sky. I'm going to need to start with the cerulean blue gradient. I'm going to go 50-50 titanium white and cerulean blue. And then I'm going to pile that all into a nice lump. And then I'm going to add more white to one side of this. And then more white again. And more white again. And I'm kind of working my way towards that yellow because the next color, I'm going to wipe this off my mixing spatula. I'm going to grab some white, and then up here, oh, there's still some blue left over on there. And we don't want that because I'm about to mix a soft peach color. So I'm going to take some cadmium yellow light and cadmium yellow medium and make a medium orange. And then add white until that's nice and peachy. I'd say that about does it. I'm going to make a more pink version as well because that's what I'm seeing. I just grabbed more white and just added just a little bit of cadmium red on the edge of the peach color, and that's pretty good for that gradient. Now I see some really warm grasses coming up from the lower part of the painting, so I'm taking some burnt sienna, I'm adding some cerulean blue. That's going to give us a nice medium warm brown. I'm going to add white to one side of that. And just a little bit of yellow to it, to the lighter version of that tone. And that'll give us a nice, looks like last year's grass. Last fall's grass that all these blooms are kind of breaking through. Okay, I'm taking a look, and the thing that I am going to have to address after we get the sky done is those really, really faint, distant hills. And I think what I'll do is I'll just blend it right from the sky colors. I mean, it's really faint. That'll be an interesting challenge, which is why I was okay approaching this painting from just a blank piece of paper. So I'm going to focus on that aspect of it. Alright, so I'm cleaning up my filbert brush. I'm going to make sure that's super clean. I'm going to start with the darkest part of the sky, which is going to be in the corners and the upper edge. I'm really not too many brush strokes away from just picking up the next lighter blue. With each lighter step in color blue, I am just blending back into the color that I just placed before that. Alright, now I'm starting to vary my brush strokes a little bit, just so that it doesn't look like a streaky gradient. I'm going to make the brush strokes imply that there's a little hint of like haze or atmosphere way back there. And I'm going to want to be almost at completely white for this next color, because I'm going to need to start going peach like really soon. Okay, now that I'm down to our loose horizon line, because this is going to be really, really, really vague, a very soft horizon line, I'm picking up some titanium white and some peach. And from that horizon line, I'm going to blend back towards the blue. I'm going to try to get a pretty soft blend. If your blue is still wet, you might get some green, and you might not want that. So just be aware. If it's not dry, you can come back when it's dry. It's fairly warm in this room right now, and we're painting on paper, so the dry time is pretty low. I'm adding more white. And I'm just doing a dry brush blend. Dry brush blends are not as chunky if you're using really smooth material that you're painting on. Okay, now I'm going to grab the pink color and go the bottom of the peach. And if you can't get a smooth blend, just try to make your brush strokes look like they're on purpose. And when I say that, I mean just add some expression, some curve, similar brush strokes throughout. I do a lot of half circle or quarter circle movements when I'm using the filbert brush, kind of working with the soft circular edge of the thing. Here is the daily reminder for if the paint that you're trying to put down is really just picking up, then just come back to that area. Especially when you're putting down paint with your paintbrush almost perpendicular to your painting surface. If it's still picking it up, just move on or get up and get a drink of water, because it will be so much easier when you get back. Okay, so we're moving on to super distant hills. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up that light blue, and the peach is going to make that into a really neutral gray green. And I'm just gonna lightly put that down. I'm gonna let it meld into our peach clouds. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up a little bit darker of a cerulean blue and that same peach, mix that in to get that really soft, distant hillside green. I'm going to need a darker value now. I'm going to pick up some of that brown, add a little bit of cerulean blue, and you know, I think we should switch away from the filbert. I have a hunch. I'm going to put that guy down. I'm going to switch to the flat because I need some mountain shapes. Okay, so the medium warm brown and that cerulean blue is going to be the next darker mountain color. I'm picking up the two darker mixes of cerulean blue, not pure cerulean blue. Okay, so there it is. That's very dreamy and very good. Now I'm just lightly putting these brush strokes down. Just gently overlapping them with the color that we put down previously. Mixing a little bit more of that light tone because I want to kind of integrate those colors together, the light and the dark. These vague hill shapes that we are going to cover up are definitely have a lit side to them. Okay, this is starting to come together, which is good. I do want this to be vaguer than the photograph because this is just going to get, some of it's going to get covered up. Going to go back to that horizon line and using a wash of the pink, I'm just going to soften that up. Now I'm adding some pink into the highlights, the sun side of the hills, as some of them are starting to develop some angles. There we go, that's a lovely soft blend. I noticed a little bit of gray got into the sky, so I'm going to try to remedy that with some white. I went ahead and opted for some cloud shapes instead of a smooth blend, as I often do, and I will recommend that as well. It's such a struggle to get smooth blends sometimes. Why not just add some little elegant cloud shapes? These ones are going to be pretty soft. And they're just going to disappear into the horizon line. There, that's very nice. Okay, so now I need a darker color because this is the foreground. Although it is going to be, let's see, in the photograph, it is both lighter and darker than the foreground. So it is definitely cooler than the foreground, so let's make sure to get it cooler. I'm using cerulean blue and that brown. The brown was mixed with the sienna and the cerulean blue and a touch of white. Here we go. I realized I need to mix like a lot more of that color. A lot more than I had mixed. I'm picking up a little bit of that warm light brown on the right side of things because that is more facing the light. Okay, let's put some grass shapes in. Still using the flat brush. I'm going to continue to do so for those brush shapes. Or I'm sorry, grass shapes. I need a little bit more of this burnt sienna medium brown. Okay, so the darker grasses are going to be on the left side of the painting, and they're a little bit lighter on the right. But I don't think anybody's really going to be keeping track too much. I'm using the thinner edge of the flat brush to make these grass lines. A lot of times I will alternate between using a flat brush stroke for grass and then a sideways brush stroke for grass. If you alternate between the two, you get a lot of different texture. But I feel like the smaller grasses, the wide edge is more of a mid-ground grass size. At least that's how I feel about it. Okay, I'm putting a little bit of dark grass here on the right side of the painting, but I'm going to switch to a lighter color. And I'm going to go to the top edge of those grasses and put in that lighter blonde. I added a little bit more white. I'm going for another round. And you know, I think I'm just going to add this. I like the way this looks. I'm going to add this to the top edge of all of the grass in the scene. Just adds a little bit more dimension. Now I'm alternating to that flat brush stroke again. I'm adding a couple little grass strands that are just raw umber, just to add some more warmth. Okay, I think we can do some branches now. This is going to be fun because this is the part where we're just going to freely paint. Just go with your gut. I'm going to take my painting spatula and I'm going to mix a good amount of what we're going to use for the branches. I want this to be, the consistency needs to be light enough to where you can paint freely with the liner brush. Right now I have burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. And that's going to give us a dark greeny browny color. Now where the branches in the reference photo are closer to a neutral gray-black, I like this warmer green-brown color for them for our painting. Is that going to be enough? I really don't want to have to remix anything. Seems about right. Now I'm going to make a lighter gray version of this, just right above it. Just in case I need it. I don't know if I'm going to need that, but that's a nice khaki color. All right, picking up my number 1 liner. Nice and loaded up with water, and I'm going to grab that dark color. Just make sure that your brush bristles are the one behind the wheel. I'm going to need to get a good gauge of where I want these branches to end. When I paint trees, I suggest starting at the top so you know exactly where it's going to end, and then working your way down, because you can always go bigger at the bottom, but you can't exactly take away. You can with the negative painting, but you know, you'd rather not sometimes. So I'm going to try to start where I want to end, which is there. And so that these branches aren't super stiff, I'm going to attempt to remind myself to paint each one with a little bit of an arc to it, and that would be the segments that the bush grew in. So, but I need to remind myself that, so. And then of course the branch needs to get thicker as we move down, and the segments need to get a little bit longer. Now I'm going to go the other way and fix that up a bit. Once you get the first branch in, that's the scary part. You can pretty much base everything off of that first one. Hopefully you painted in the longest one too. This is the part that's pretty meditative. Make sure you have something to rest your hand on if you need it. And also that you're not resting your hand on any wet paint. Now, I've been accused of my branches being too polite, and I've been working on that. Too polite meaning they all share the amount of space really harmoniously. Like, they're not overlapping at all, they're not crowded in any spaces. And I actually have to make a conscious effort to make some intersect, so it doesn't look like a tree with just branches on the sides. There's a lot happening in the third dimension all the way around, so it's just something to keep in mind. Oh, there we go. An intersect. I am just gonna have a whole lot of branches coming out of this left corner. One of the perks of using a brown instead of a black is you can let the paint get lighter towards the ends of the branches, and it just looks very natural. Or, you know, you can pick up that khaki also. In this step, you can kind of go as crazy as you'd like to. I am definitely going to be pulling some grass over the front of these as well. I think I'm going to go ahead and bring this leftmost branch all the way up off the page. Now we're getting somewhere. As you get to this point, this branch density, you'll start to feel a little less scared and a little bit more free because the focus isn't on just one branch. And I think if you really knew that you were going to get to that place, then you could be a little bit more free and a little bit less scared with your branch placement, but you know, some people are really good at vaguely scratching in branches for spring blossoms. And I don't know, I just don't have it in me to do it that way. I would much rather thoughtfully place each one as a different look to it. And now you can start to see why we didn't spend a lot of time in the background. I feel like I need to add some more medium and small branches towards the edge of our painting. I don't want any distracting negative space there. Right about now, it's a lot easier to put impolite branches in. And it's starting to get a little bit more fun to do so. I'm going to have these branches trailing off towards the right. Very unlike the reference photo, but that's just more of an inspiration picture than anything else. Okay, now I'm going to take that taupe color, the lighter brown with the white in it, and I'm just going to brush some really light extensions onto the ends of the branches. I'm sharpening up the script brush in the palette to do this. Just adding a round of tinies on all of the ends. If some of these don't connect, it's not going to matter as much. Okay, I feel like I've got it. Now I'm going to pull some grasses up over the bottom here before I put some blooms down, and I want that to be a softer color. I'm going to mix some yellow into the taupe, and I added some more white. Just a touch of red. Okay, that's about right. Now I'm going to use the flat brush. That's going to be closer to the grasses that we have in the background behind all this stuff. I'm not going super heavy. see if I can attempt a little seed buds that are on these. It's a little on the white side, but if I add a couple lighter grasses around it, I think that might work. Okay. I think that's just fine. Now onto the little flowers. So I'm going to be using a number 2 point brush for the flowers. And these are a soft apricot to white, and there's a little touch of like red magenta on the bottom of these buds that connected onto the branches. That's going to go last. What I'll do is I'll start with the white apricot color and just kind of vaguely get that on there, and then I'll do the attachment onto the branch at the very end. Now where to put them? I think this apricot color is what drew me to this picture in the first place. And a lot of white in this one. So we're going through a lot of white. It's not often that I squeeze more of that out, like more than once, definitely not. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to start with white, then go to the apricot, then go with the magenta red over that. The white flowers in the reference photo are more in this zone, on the lower zone, and then they get darker going up, but I don't know if that matters for us so much. Let's just see. I'm going to make sure that these attach. And I'm going with 3 brush marks. And for our composition, we want to make sure that these are in like clumps. You don't want them evenly distributed throughout the whole thing. 3 brush strokes, and then groups of like 3, 5, or 7 in odd amounts is what's decided to look best. I didn't make this rule. This is a good way to fix any like little funky branches that you're noticing while you're painting the flowers. But don't let it distract you from your blossom placement too much. So I feel like it did for me just now. If you're doing a closed blossom, like at the end of the branches, go ahead and just do 2 brush strokes that are kind of like holding each other, kind of like this. I want some of these flowers to come down the bush a little bit. I'm choosing to use the center branch for that. Getting there. I am taking a step back here. Look at what we got. I think we're ready to add the peach. And there is the rosy color that we're going to use at the base. I'm not covering up all of the white petals. The white petals are important for two reasons. One, they covered up all those branches. It's very opaque. So we have no problem with that, with any branches showing, but they are going to help show, the white is also going to help show this peach color. It's going to help it come through. Got some bigger blossoms down at the base. A little bit easier to see what's going on there. And this round goes a lot faster because I'm not worrying so much about positioning. I worried about that in the last round. Okay, so now I got that rosy color. And I'm just gonna do one quick little, one or two little petals per each flower. Because I would imagine this is like the guard petal. Okay, so now I'm going to take the liner brush again, pick that bad boy up, And I'm going to go to that branch brown that we were using before, and I'm going to pull some branches over some of those blossoms. Keep in mind, you want some of them to be more prominent. So let's say these guys, this area here, I want that to be more dramatic and more prominent. But I'm going to pull some branches over the others to kind of like put them more in the bush. Sometimes it is hard to put branches over all those pretty pink blooms you just painted. I understand. And you could choose not to. That would be okay. That part is going to be an up to you. You can be a lot looser with this last layer of branches. As long as you don't have a big end sticking out anywhere, it should be fine. I'm deciding this one right here is the main branch. I'm just going to bring that down a little further into this grass. And this one too. Okay. Looks like we got really busy right here in the middle, but I'm liking what's happening here. That's nice. I feel like some negative space in there would be a good thing. But how to add it would be... We have so much happening in the background that it would be very, very tricky to add negative space back in, let me tell you. I like these really faint branches coming out, and since we're going so branch heavy, it's like, sure. It's all about the branches, this one. You know what it is? I think I'm going to pull a couple of these forward again. And if you need to do that, you just do the same process. You put in the 3, because it should be dry by now. And I think I'm going to pull 2 of these forward. Same process, the 3 white petals. Let's see, that one, and I think this one. And then you do the peach. And then that guard petal. Okay, I think we just about got it. Just gonna fix that one weird branch I saw. That's being really nitpicky. It was good meditation, that's for sure. Well, I think we're gonna call it good. I'm gonna be interested to see how this looks after the tape peel. It's definitely something, it's hard to put down because there's so much. And you know what it is? There's not a clear focal point. I think that's what it is. When you have a clear focal point, what you can do is you can focus on one spot and bring the most attention there, and then kind of fade the detail out as you move away from the focal point. So maybe we will call these 2 big blossoms our focal point. Or the end where all the branches are going. Either way, it's fine. That's fine. I hope you enjoyed this painting process video, and until next time, happy painting!